You sure?
Okay, we're recording now. So, just a real quick intro. We're here with the Bitcoin Design Community Design Review Call with the Keeper team. And I will hand right over to Anand to kick us off.
Hey guys, this is Anant. I'm the founder, one of the co-founders, and the guy who looks at the product side of things on Keeper. I have Sumi with me. She is the UI UX lead, and she's going to take you through the app and get your feedback. I'll just give you a few minutes of context, and then we can take it from there. So, but feel free to ask any questions. So, Keeper as an app is designed for long-term security of your sats. What I mean by that is basically there are sats that you use very regularly, and then probably there are sats that you want to secure for a long term. So the frequency of use that is expected in Keeper is lower at least the vault side of things, and users would want to move things to their hot wallet when they want to use it regularly. So that lends itself very clearly to the product architecture. So the way Keeper is structured, there are two main pieces, three rather. The central piece is the vault, which we call the vault. Now, vault currently uses multisig, but there's no reason why it can't use time lock in the future or up vault or any of the other things, right? So that is the place where you would stash away most of your funds or life savings or at least a significant amount. So that's the vault, which is the central piece right now. It consists of multisig, but we would be introducing time lock and up vault and other things as they become available. The second piece is the wallets. Wallets is completely a separate section. It's like hot wallets, which you might think of it as pocket change, which you use regularly. The frequency of use is more, but the connection between wallets and vault is that if you can define threshold policy on the wallet side, and if the balance of the wallet crosses a certain threshold, then there is an automatic transfer that is triggered from your wallet to the vault, and we'll see how that works. And the third piece is the inheritance piece, which is kind of separate, and probably we'll do another review sometime later. But today we are going to focus on the vault and the wallet flows, right? Any questions, or shall we just jump into it?
I had a question here. So, what's the relationship with Hexa? Did one lead to the other because there were certain user needs, or and maybe the other wallet didn't really fit in? Or,
I was hoping someone asked that, but I wasn't sure. See, the way we have discussed this before, and the way Hexa was initially envisaged was that Hexa is going to be like the one app that serves all needs. But as we got into the details of what Bitcoin enables and how many things are possible, we realized that from a UX point of view or from a trade-offs point of view, it is not the right place to have everything in one go. There were just too many trade-offs involved. A wallet, an app, having one app doing everything for everyone was just not possible. So we divided the app into two. The keeper was born out of it, and then it went beyond it. But the keeper was born out of it for people who want to secure their funds. So Hexa still lives. Hexa is still being used by thousands of people. It is more a simple and a social app, and it is more focused on new users coming on, using it with friends and family. Features like gifts, features like test account, that is still in Hexa. By the way, we are going to rename Hexa to Bitcoin Tribe, which very clearly signifies uh, the purpose of the wallet. Now it's basically finding your tribe, finding your Bitcoin tribe, doing Bitcoin with your friends and family. So that is one app, and this is completely a separate app, which is Bitcoin Keeper. As the name suggests, it is for keeping your keys secure. So that is the relationship between the two apps. It is by the same company, the same team, but they're two separate self-custody apps with two very different purposes.
awesome, thank you. And I could sense the similarities in the design as well, with the design treatment, fonts. It's like the similar hands behind both projects. Were there any other questions from anyone? Anything about the project itself, where it came from, the team, goals, anything around maybe lightning or features or anything else anyone's curious about before we dive into the design? Seems like we're okay. So back to you. Oh, did Anand just? Oh, there he is again. Okay.
I think I got disconnected, but I suppose we are jumping in.
Yeah, I'm sharing my screen now. So let me know once you can see it.
Real quick, also, anyone in the call, how many of you had the chance to either review the designs or try the application? I did both earlier today. Yes, Raj? Okay, awesome. Okay. So some people have reviewed it, some have not. So yeah, you might want to start from the beginning there a little bit.
That's okay. Yeah, I'll just walk you through since right at the beginning. So when you initially load the app, we have a few onboarding screens. We tell the user about what it means to have signing devices, and we talk a little about Tor and privacy, and running your own node. Once you're through the onboarding screens, you do have the option to skip it, and we just start with creating your own passcode. Once the user creates the passcode, we have two options, a few options over here. You can start new if you've never used Bitcoin Keeper before. You just start with a new vault. If you have already used it before, or there we do have an option for inheritance, which we'll talk about later. But there is an option to restore for inheritance, or if you have used Keeper before. So I'll just walk you through what happens when we start from with a new vault. The app loads for a little bit, and this is what you end up with. At the home screen, like you can see, there's like three major entities over here. The first one is the vault. I'll talk about it a little bit. We have sort of a notification center on top. This is for users uh, to understand what is the next immediate action required. We have inheritance and we have linked wallets. So let's start with the vault. Depending on what tier you are on, we have a few. The user is allowed to add up to 5 signing devices for now. But so we have pleb, hodler, and diamond hand. So that's 1 of 1 signing device, 2 of 3, and 5 of 5. We do have option for unlimited also, but it's still in the works. But because this user is pleb, they are only allowed to add 1 signing device. Once you click over here, we tell the user a little bit about signing devices, and we show them a list of what all we have available. Now, depending on whether or not your device can use NFC, some of them may not be available. So imagine a user just clicks on Tap Signer. We give them instructions on how to add Tap Signer as a signing device. Each signing device has their own way of add, getting integrated into the vault and signing when it comes to transactions. But with Tap Signer, how it happens is you enter a CVC code, and the phone scans with an NFC, and the signing device just gets added. So that's the Tap Signer flow. Now, again, like I said, depending on the subscription level, you're allowed to add up to 5 signing devices. Imagine the user has added multiple signing devices. You can then choose to add descriptions to identify your signer, and then your vault is created. So this is a scenario where we have 3 signing devices added. So you can tell that by the icons that this is scorecard, ledger and treasure, and we can have up to 5 signing devices right now. So that's the vault creation. I'll pause here in case there are any questions for this flow.
There have to be some questions here. I had a question because I went through the designs and I went through the onboarding too, and
Sure.
or the application itself. I got it on iPhone and Android, and I tried to set up a Vault using both of them. And something
Mm-hmm.
I was wondering, the you have the onboarding where you explain some of the features,
Right.
but in the onboarding you do not explain the tiers. So
Right.
I came into the application and I was like, why does it say pleb in the corner? And I'm a Bitcoiner. I know what pleb means, right? But I was
Right.
wondering if that's something that should go into the, if you've considered moving that into the initial explanation where maybe you either show me what those tiers are and how they work, and or just state that these exist maybe. And I was also wondering, in your design I saw prices next to them. In my live application there are no prices, so is this a feature that's in development?
Yeah, so we don't have any prices for now because it's still in beta and it's on testnet, but we plan to move to it very quickly.
So I will just so this the screens that you see here are, in design. Those numbers are just placeholders. We have not. Most likely, it will be country wise. So some countries might have slightly better pricing than others, especially depending on their in developing countries versus developed countries and all that. So we are still doing some thinking and research around that. So right now, because the app is in beta, though it is available on mainnet, but the app is still in beta and anyone can just upgrade it without any costs.
Yeah, that makes sense. So I was, if I could just stay on that point for a moment, the term pleb, if you go to that screen, I think it says something like for beginners,
Right.
right? So a beginner, I would assume, is someone who's not technically, who doesn't maybe understand as much how Bitcoin works as other people. But the use case for each plan is different. Like Diamond Hands is someone who puts a lot of money in there, and a pleb has less security, so it's someone who puts less money in there. So it's not the tiers are not necessarily a reflection of how savvy someone is with Bitcoin, but more about their use case.
Okay.
I was just curious because the term
Yeah,
pleb, I get it, I see it, I have fun. There's like Noster plebs and like pleb lab and all of this stuff. But I was curious if like the broader audience will if it will click with them right away.
we have actually got some mixed feedback on that. Some people really love it, and some people think it's not very clear.
Yeah.
So this is definitely open to change, right? So we have been thinking of some other options.
Yeah, so one of the options was how we do in the finance industry about gold, silver, platinum, bronze, things like that. So that does relate a lot more to how much people are holding in their vault
Mhm.
versus these terms.
Yeah. It's a tricky balance between injecting some personality and making it fun, but also having it clear. It's
Yes,
difficult. Yeah.
I
definitely.
think what you suggested, Christopher, in terms of having an initial screen, explaining that stuff, that might, cover it. If you explain what really pleb is in terms of the amount you might want to hold, and it's like the starting step, more than about your technical proficiency, then that might help a little bit. So if we have an onboarding screen on tiers, that might do the job.
Awesome. Thank you.
One other flow that I wanted to discuss was the signing. Say you've created your vault. Now you want to send or receive from the vault. After you go through the phase where you're selected um, where you want to send your Bitcoin to. You've entered your amount and you've selected your transaction priority. Depending on how many signing devices you have at the moment, you will need to sign with those. And which ones you have, you will need to sign with those while you're doing the transactions as well. So in this particular case, the vault is 3 or 5. So that's tier 2. And I have 3 signers added. I can choose to sign with any 2 of these.
Yeah,
So
sorry, Sumi, this is two of three, I think you just misspelled that. Yeah, carry on. It's just two of three, not three of five. That's okay.
Sorry.
I was just clarifying that the app doesn't select the three signers. You are presented with all the signers, and you have to select two out of them.
Right. So imagine the user is selecting tap. We will walk them through the process of how to sign with your tap signer. And once they're done, we basically just show them that you're now signed with two signing devices, so you can proceed. So depending on which subscription level you are on, you would either do one of one, you would do two of three, or three of five. So this one's two of three. Any questions here?
Seems very clear to me. Anyone else?
Hello. So, uh, hello.
Yeah, Precious, we can hear you. I can
Yeah,
hear you at least.
yeah. So I just came in. I wanted to like know like the app what's like the function like just catch up.
Sorry, I didn't catch that.
I said like so like this Bitcoin Keeper app this the onboarding like right.
No, this is where so you've already created your vault. You've added signers to your vault. In this case, you've added three signers to your vault, and now you're signing a transaction. So while you're signing a transaction, because you're on the two of three plan, you would need to sign a transaction with through two of your selected signing devices. So only after you've approved the transaction with two signing devices, only then you can proceed.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, it's I have a question here. So because I also looked into multi-sig and setting up signing devices. It seems like every device has its own unique flow.
They do, yes.
So do you have unique instructions for each one and a unique UI?
We do actually. So specifically with this one was particularly for Tap Signer, but in our application we've already started to integrate with other signing devices. For example, Cold Card has its own process where they actually because it's NFC based, you have to send PSBT and receive PSBT to be able to sign it. And different signing devices require you to scan something instead. So each of one of them has their own way of signing it. And even while you're creating the vault, you do have to go through different processes. So what we're trying to do is, while whether it's setting up your vault or signing your transactions, we try to give them instructions so that before the user goes to the signing screen, they're prepared for what they need to do.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely needed. There was one, I forgot if I saw it in your design or in the live application somewhere. There was one device where it said, "Do not use this with any other wallets." I'll have to see if I can find this again. I was just curious what the reason for that was.
You're talking about a signing device?
Yes, I can't think of where I saw that right now. So maybe ignore it, and I'll see if I can find this
Sure,
information again.
sure.
Okay, can you just repeat what you said? What did you find?
There was one of those instructional screens where it said that make sure to not use this device with any other wallet.
Right. So I think where it might have happened is because the user is going to use it for inheritance purposes, and they might want to keep this secure for a long term. Using the same device, let's say they are using the same hardware wallet somewhere else, and sharing the xpub or sharing any additional information in some other app, there might be a loss of privacy at that point. So it is just a general instruction, nothing operational, but it is just a general instruction that you might not want to use these keys somewhere else. I think that is what it must be.
That makes perfect sense. Yeah, that's a good point there. Yeah, very good. Have you tested these unique flows, and if users can figure out how to connect these different devices?
So yes, we have tested it. In fact, if you look at our Twitter timeline, we have put a lot of demos out. We are still improving the instructions and stuff like that. But essentially, people who have used it, because most of them are like Bitcoiners and they know a little bit about it, they have not found any issues, doing it. Um, yeah, so yes, we have tested all of it. It definitely works. From a user testing point of view, people who have tested it have given, definitely they've given us some feedback here and there. But generally, the flow of selecting a specific device, and then getting instructions very specific to that device, that go into settings and then multisig and then do this, is really like a assisted multisig flow that people have liked. So if you go to some of those some of the other wallets, it very clearly tells you where do they need to go in the wallet, in the hardware wallet, and where do they need to sign the scan the QR code from. So it's more like a wizard which handholds them through the process.
That's excellent. Is there anything very specific that you would like this group to give feedback on in the screens we've looked at so far?
I do have a few on the home screen, and in one of the flows I will talk about further. So I'll collect those together at the end. Or do you want me to just share it right now?
I'm sorry, your questions?
Yes. So I need specific feedback on design of a certain set of screens.
Okay.
Okay, so maybe I have two other flows to walk through. Should I do those first?
It's up to you. If you'd like to stay here right now and discuss it, we can do that, or you can go over all the
All
flows.
right, so let's talk about this. There's a few variations of the screen, so I'll come to the full variation where you have the subscription tier on top. Like you correctly guessed, I was trying to give this some personality because we don't really ask for the user's name, anything like that. This is here on top. This, like I said, is for the next immediate action that the user needs to take. This entire thing is the vault, and we have inheritance and linked wallets. So one of the feedback that we've gotten from users is that it's for a starting point, it seems very overwhelming, or because this is something that I'm trying to portray as the next immediate action. This needs to have some sort of it needs to grab the user's attention, but between the vault and the notification, I'm not sure if that's happening.
Would anyone else like to chime in here?
Sorry, I didn't catch the last sentence. Could you please say that again? So sorry.
Okay. So when you look at the home screen, what I'm trying to do is try to get the user to focus on the vault, but also on this part, because this is the next immediate action. For example, if one of the sign-in devices for some reason doesn't really work anymore, or if they've added only 4 devices and they do need to add the fifth to complete their to secure their vault, that instruction would be given over here. So this is the starting point for the user's journey for the next immediate action, right? And our entire application focuses on the vault. So this is basically the most important feature of our vault, of our application. What I'm trying to understand is if both of these together are grabbing the attention that they need to, like if the user is understanding what they need to do when they land on the screen.
Yeah, I mean,
Well,
at least in my experience, I didn't. I mean, I was able to like figure out that these two items need my attention. Maybe just a quick like suggestion off the top of my head around it. Maybe you can use some sort of an icon, like a warning icon, or like something that tells the user that they have to take action. Like right now about this. I think that is what you were trying to say. So maybe an icon that signifies that.
Sure.
From my experience trying this out earlier, I was also a bit overwhelmed. And part of it, so I put in my background here, there's a screenshot that I took. And for me, there were a lot of new concepts introduced in this screen. So at the top, I see the word pleb. Then I
Right.
see vault.
Mm-hmm.
I'm realizing that it's not enabled yet, but I have a balance. Then I see inheritance, and then I see a linked wallet where I thought, where does that come from? I have not linked any wallets yet. So for
Okay.
me, there were a lot of new things to process here. So I think if this vault is not ready yet for the user, and this is the one thing that they should be doing, you could remove inheritance. Maybe you can even remove the linked wallet, and maybe you could remove the balance, and maybe you could place this prompt to activate the vault over this over the vault graphic, because the vault graphic looks cool and it immediately draws my attention. So I don't the messages above and below, they're weaker,
Mm.
especially the top one, because it blends a little bit with the background.
Mm-hmm.
So the first thing, my eye is instantly drawn to this cool looking vault in the center. So maybe you can just place this message over this vault graphic to
Okay.
make that really clear. But yeah,
Okay.
for me, there were just I was reading everything and I was like, okay, I have a lot of things that I need to do
Mm.
here. What should I do next? Aliyah, please go ahead.
Yeah, so I agree with you in terms of like not knowing what to focus on when I'm looking at the screen because like obviously my focus goes towards the vault because it's big and brown, so it looks really cool. But then if I'm looking at the other buttons and iconography that you have, I see like two arrows. So my next thing would be like, okay, which arrow do I click on? Am I clicking on the inheritance or the link a device step? And you said that you want the link device to pretty much stand out from the vault. So maybe having maybe like changing the background of this pill that you have could probably significant sorry pretty much show like that's probably the next step to differentiate from everything. That
Okay.
could probably be a possible solution.
Yep.
Yeah.
Somebody else wanted to speak?
Yeah, I just wanted to ask you that the whether there are like three actions to take. Like I'm seeing like about three buttons or three places the user could take action. So I don't. Is this like the first thing the user sees after
Right.
their
So
onboarding?
this is where you would land on right after you've created your vault. So your vault is created, but it's not activated yet. So you do need to add signing devices to activate it. Um, Inheritance for this scenario should not be activated yet. And I have automatically created a linked wallet for you. But like Christoph said, that's not very clear. So the app has created a linked wallet for you.
Okay. So
That, that,
so
that
okay. So I was like, since it seems like default is like the priority when the user gets into the app. If there's a way to like make that like well known and yeah, so that like as soon as they're onboarded, like they know that okay, yeah, this is what I can do for the like to like link the vote or activate the vote.
right. Okay.
I think we were also playing with the idea of using the usual tabs. What Sumi that might do is actually reduce the importance of, like, reduce the focus on inheritance and linked wallets.
Sure.
And what that might help is when you get onto that particular tab, then
Mm-hmm.
you can explain about it much more easily
Right.
instead of trying to explain it like with a single line over here.
Right.
So, and that will give you more space on the main screen to do stuff.
Sure.
So maybe that's you can focus on that.
I have a question here too. Is there, as a user, is the is activating the vault, is that the only thing I should be doing right now? Should I be blocked from everything else? Or can I set up my inheritance? Will some people, does it make sense for me to use a linked wallet or do something else?
You can use your linked wallets like any other hot wallet. So yes,
Mhm.
you can go around the app. It is not a blocker. Though it's the focus, it's not the blocker. You can still go around the app, look at it, and you can actually even use the hot wallets
Mhm.
without ever setting up the vault if you really want to. But that's yeah, that's what it is.
And the inheritance feature, are those usable without setting up a vault?
That is usable. It gets unlocked at a certain tier, so
Mhm.
it would get unlocked at a later tier. So it is very unlikely that user has not set up the vault even at all, and they want to access the inheritance feature. So probably not really.
Inheritance is meant for the vault. You would give instructions to your heir to inherit your vault.
Correct. Correct. Yep.
Gotcha. Yeah. So maybe there is an option to remove that altogether until the vault's set up.
Sure.
Hmm.
So somebody at Diamond Hands, assuming that their vault, all their five signing devices are set up, they could set up their inheritance.
Hmm.
So if somebody would try to open their screen when the um, five signers are not in place, but they are at the proper tier, they would see a screen like this.
I love these big files.
I
Sure.
try to keep them precise, but they're never like that.
Yep, that's how it is.
Just let me find inheritance for you. That is basically what it would look like. And instead of the call to action here, it would be like set up your signing devices first.
Yep. Okay, you mentioned, we can keep talking about the vault if you'd like. You also mentioned two other flows.
Yeah, so I will talk about auto transfer. So one of the features that we have on this app is your linked wallets. One, you set a transfer policy. So the idea is once it hits this number that you've set before, there is a transfer initiated that all of the balance that is in your wallet gets transferred to the vault for security purposes. So you're allowed to set this um, you're allowed to set this number for one particular wallet. Once it hits this mark, the user gets a notification. Um, just let me seem to have lost that screen. Right. It's basically like a send screen where you're calling it transfer from your default wallet, whatever the amount was, to your vault, and there's a minimum transaction fee applied. So all the user has to do is confirm, and it gets transferred to the vault. Okay. Hi, Yashraj.
Um, just a second.
So I think the idea here is that you are securing your sats in the vault. So but you might have hot wallets and you might use other apps. One of the things is you can connect these wallets with other apps. For example, you can use the child seeds here and initiate other wallets outside, like a blue wallet or some other wallet. So the idea is these wallets serve as a bridge between your secure vault and your pocket change. And when that goes beyond a certain value, it just simply transfers it to the vault, and we are using BIP85 for that.
Okay, Yashrash, you wanted to speak?
Yeah. Like disclaimer, I'm not like very familiar with multi-sig, but uh, when you say that like uh, after you reach a certain threshold, you are able to like transfer the funds to the vault. Like, does it mean that the vault is also like a wallet? Like the vault is a wallet in itself, and the link
Yes,
policies
yes,
are
yes.
Oh.
Yes, think of it like an ultra secure wallet that
Right.
is secured by multiple signing devices.
Mm-hmm.
That's meant for long term hoarding of
Mm-hmm.
Bitcoin.
But it does not show under the linked wallets
No, it
section.
is not.
Okay.
Just think of
Okay.
it as a different category of super secure.
Mm-hmm.
And you can access the linked wallets from the bottom of the home screen. You
Yes,
have the big vault in the center, and the bottom you have linked wallets.
right.
And linked wallets can be external and they can be internal, right? And one internal one is automatically set up when you start the application. If I
Yes.
understood correctly.
Correct.
I like this. I like this transfer feature quite a bit. Just regularly kind of nudge people to secure their belongings. How do you introduce it to the users? Do you have an intro screen for this feature?
Uh, we do have a learn. We have learn more screens pretty much in every
Um,
feature.
So
That we,
I had a question. Yeah, I wanted to ask and confirm. Is it possible for users to be able to adjust the threshold, or should I say the transfer policy that is set,
yes,
or
you.
is it automatically?
No, no, you can set it for each individual wallet.
Oh, okay, okay. I wasn't clear on that.
This might be a nice opportunity to inject some personality into this experience. Like, yes, you did it. You're pushing some of your Bitcoin into cold storage. You're hodling. This might be a there might be an opportunity to do some fun animations or messaging there.
Okay.
yeah.
The tone of the wallet is a lot more serious though. With even with illustrations and even with content that we are using, the copy that we're using, we're trying to keep it very serious. But I do want to introduce some personality. I'm just looking for places where I can.
Nice. It's about the details. Daniel raised his hand or wanted to speak. You're muted, I think. Cannot hear you. Maybe you have to rejoin one of those Jitsi moments potentially.
So one other screen I wanted feedback on is this. In this scenario, I have three linked wallets, the total balance over here, and then you can basically scroll to see other wallets. The idea is that the user can add as many as they want to, because they can potentially add wallets from other sources also if they want to, like third-party wallets into this app. So I'm still trying to understand if this is the best way to go about it.
And by going about it, you mean this horizontal left and right
Yes, the
swiping?
horizontal scroll. So I'm already coming from the home screen, right? So this is where you've started your journey, right? So this is the linked wallets. Once you click over here, this is sort of the screen that you land on. And I do tell the user that they have three linked wallets here, and this is your total balance of all the three wallets.
Okay, Precious and Daniel. Let's make sure Daniel can also speak.
Um, mm. So like the balance I'm saying, the 0.030, the card balance, and then there's one other one again, unsent, unconfirmed. Are they like different, let's say, yeah, different, what's the word now?
Okay, so
Different balances.
yes, so this balance is for all your linked wallets. So the collective balance basically shows up here. This is my available balance, which is different from my unconfirmed balance. So if you see over here, a few transactions are still unconfirmed. That balance basically shows up over here. So if you've done certain transactions recently that haven't gone through enough confirmations yet, it's still it'll be listed over here, and I indicate it in this way.
That's why it's still subtracted from like the default wallet. Like
So this is available. If I want to send funds from this wallet, this is the only amount I can use. I
I'm
cannot use
saying
this balance yet.
that I'm saying like at this point where that unconfirmed balance is showing, is it has it been subtracted from the available balance, like and then just like
Yes.
there pending?
Yes.
Okay,
So this would, if this everything is confirmed, this would just get added over here.
okay, okay. All right.
What was
Dan-
the thinking behind including the unconfirmed balance?
I think that's a standard in pretty much a lot of the wallets that I've seen. Because it takes a lot of time sometimes, depending on how much you've agreed to pay as a transaction fee, it could take potentially a lot of time. So the user should have some indication of the pending balance.
Daniel, we still can't hear you, I think. Did you just say something? Oh, man. Can anyone else hear Daniel? Sometimes.
No.
No, no,
Oh.
no, okay. Because I was thinking that there's a way to like rearrange the available balance and the unconfirmed balance, but like I don't like really like have a solution on my head to like um
Okay. Is it not obvious what I'm trying to show over here? This balance is problematic, you're saying?
yeah, it's kind of like seems problematic. Like from what you're saying about like the standard, like the ones I've tried out, I think like there's like a subtraction or so, like where they like tell you that okay, this balance have been subtracted, and then kind of like know that okay, here yes, this balance is not like to my it's not like it's not a balance that is part of my main balance, and it's just like a confirmation sort of.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, a simple solution could be you have available balance and then the amount, and right next to it says plus
Okay.
pending balance, and then the number below. So it's like, okay, this one and this one, but it's still
Okay.
in progress. But your main question was actually something else. It was about this left and right
The,
navigation.
the, the, the general UI of the screen. So I already have come from the home screen, right? So that was my starting point.
Yeah.
And I tell the user how many linked wallets there are and the total balance of all my wallets. So imagine if there's 5 wallets over here, that would be the collective balance of all of them. And that reflects over here as well. And then I have this horizontal scroll for the user to navigate between wallets.
Yeah. So I think some, what you're showing here is a screen that already has 3 wallets and that has transactions in it. So as a user, the first time I will encounter this screen, it will look different, right? It will be a single wallet, and
I
I'm
wouldn't really
just
have any transactions.
and it would not have any transactions. So I have it up here on my phone. It says no transaction yet. Pull down to refresh, and then I can swipe over, and I see. I think that's pretty clear. I can swipe over, and then I see a box that says add new wallet. I don't know if anyone can see it here or not. So to me, that kind of makes sense because when you're looking at an empty screen, empty wallet, there's much less information. Yeah, like this one, almost because at the top. Oh yeah, that's pretty much what it looks like. So to me, that was pretty clear. The only thing that was not a little bit confusing was the idea of the label linked wallet, because I looked through the website and the App Store and in the onboarding, and there the term hot wallet is used, and I think the term BIP85 wallet or so. So the first time I encountered the term linked wallet was on the home screen with the vault. And I had not seen that label used anywhere before in my experience.
Okay.
So using the same terminology throughout might help with that. But let's see. Daniel had a question. the sweep function, does it leave some money as you may still want to have some left to spend? Yeah, that's a good question too.
Um, so we could have that option. Now, this is not mandatory. So even if you hit the benchmark that you've set, it's not mandatory that you transfer it. We're not forcing the user. So there are possibilities that you might cross. You have still funds beyond that limit as well.
So it would be like, let's say you have your threshold set at 0.01. It only triggers it if, let's say, you have 0.015 in your wallet. So therefore,
Yeah,
there's
I
a little
mean,
bit left
that's
over.
something that the
Yeah.
user.
Testing, testing. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, fantastic. Sorry, everybody, for tech issues, and sorry for only turning up with half of the call. But yeah, that question I had a long time ago when you when you were talking about that feature. So sorry to go back
No
to
problem.
that. I thought it's a very clever feature, but I also think most people probably don't want to sweep everything, right? Because then they might have to send stuff back. So it was just a topical question at the time.
Okay.
So I'll just jump in here. So the right, it is very easy for us to let the user define how much of money they want to send. But it is basically a trade-off between you want to make the transfer a one-step approval process, or do you want the user to enter the amount and so on. So right now, what we have started off with, that if you're transferring, there's a very high chance that you just want to transfer the whole thing and just like keep it blank and then start again. That's one of the possibilities. But
Yeah,
probably you can let the user edit it if they want to.
yeah, I'm sure
Just
that's something you can
implement it.
learn from people along the way. It was just
Yes,
something I
that will be
thought of when for example, if I have a spending wallet, I probably still want to have some change in there.
right.
But anyway, I
One of the
have
things we can introduce is at the confirmation screen, we can give the option to still edit
Mm.
their amount, so they can still go back and change it if they want to.
Yeah, I think letting them go through it, but giving them an option to change if they want to,
Right.
that can be a good idea. Okay.
That's a nice feature.
So one thing is on this hot wallet space, which we have to like get the terminology consistent. But this hot wallet space, even it will feature lightning wallets. So let's say you have a lightning wallet over here, you are using that lightning wallet somewhere else also. When you're playing a lightning game with it, you are doing you are getting sats back as reward, or whatever you want to do. So you can have your lightning adventures, but when it goes beyond a certain point, you have one step process to just secure your money. So lightning wallets will also come in this space.
yeah, it's great. It's a clever feature.
One of the thought behind linked wallets, the terminology is that you could import different wallets that have not originated from Keepa, but there has been some confusion around that terminology.
Yeah, I'm not sure if you've talked about this already, but it was one of the probably the main point when I went through the onboarding this morning and had a look at the wallet was terminology. And I would consider myself kind of a medium experienced Bitcoin person, but when onboarding, I kind of put myself into like not quite a beginner, but like on the more kind of beginner side of things. And yeah, there was quite a lot of terminology I had to think quite a lot about. And Vault to me was the first thing, right? It signals safety and security. That's good. But then when I looked at the different kind of plans you have, the vault seems to mean different things. So like in the big, where you start out, the pleb plan, which is also a word I kind of had to stop and think about. In the pleb plan, it seems like it's actually not an external signing device. It's
No,
maybe I've got this wrong.
yeah, sorry, it is an external air gap device. So probably what you could do is like set up a cold storage with one cold card. So it is still an external.
Yes,
It's
sorry.
not a hot wallet.
Sorry,
Because
you're
one
right.
of the
It,
easiest thing you can do, what people do with single sig, that's why we
yeah,
don't want to call that vault as multi-sig, because at a pleb level it is single sig. Maybe when we introduce time lock, it will be probably single sig with time lock, or maybe op vault. So
Yeah, that's right. So that's what I was,
right.
when I dove into it a bit, I realized that vault could actually mean different things. It could mean a single external signer, it could mean a multi-sig, etc. So that's, I'm sure you've thought a lot about this, but it was something that I came across and kind of like, okay, it can be different things. And
Yeah.
the second thing was, the naming of linked wallets, which, apologies again if you've talked about it already, but that was confusing to me. And especially the fact that there was already one wallet linked. Since I hadn't set up an external signing device, I was wondering, how could there be a wallet already? Yeah.
So I think there definitely needs to be some more communication. But did you get how now? Do you get how what that means?
Not really. I mean, if I
Okay.
think about it, if there is a wallet there, that must mean that a recovery phrase has been created, right? Which means that
Yes.
must be a hot wallet.
Yeah. So the wallets are completely different from the vault.
Yeah, that's
So
confusing to
wallets,
me.
yeah, that's something we have to kind of figure out how to explicitly specify. But it is not just a multi-sig vault. The vault is there, but separately, completely separately, there's a space for hot wallets. Now these hot wallets are completely, they have their own master seed and stuff, and they are meant to manage pocket change and to connect external wallets to the keeper app. It is there's like a bridge between your super secure vault and you might have 10 use cases for different wallets each, right? So that is the idea of hot wallet. It is completely separate from vault. Vault can be air gapped, one of one or two of three or three of five or other stuff later on. But the wallets are completely separate, and one default wallet, default hot wallet, is given as a starting point.
Yeah. I didn't get that when I
Mm.
onboarded.
Mm.
I thought, yeah.
No,
I'll
we
just
have
leave
got
it at
that.
that. I was
We
confused
have,
basically, and
yeah.
if there is a hot wallet separate from the vault, I think maybe, and it's also separate from external linked wallets, I would maybe try and use separate language that was clear about that.
Yeah. This is one feedback we've got. So definitely we are working on kind of figuring out how to better communicate that. Like I was saying, one of the other option, if we have separate tab completely, and when user lands on the tab of wallets, we can give them a screen explaining what this is. So maybe that clarifies a little more of it.
Yeah, I think that's a lot of times when we design onboarding experiences in those discussions, the idea is always people don't want to look at things, just get them to use things quickly, just throw them in there. But I think there are sometimes very good reasons not to do that and have a more guided experience. So when users end up in the application and kind of roam around on their own, that they do understand all of the individual concepts and how they get together. And that's a really fine balance that some users will just fly through and it all makes sense, and others will stumble in all kinds of different aspects of it. I think that's one of those most intricate, difficult pieces about onboarding in Bitcoin wallets.
So internally, the thumb rule we are trying to use is that onboarding screens we don't want more than three, right? And then what we've done is later on when you land onto certain areas, for example, if you go to hot wallets for the first time, it will open up a additional screen, this one.
Hmm.
So it's kind of onboarding as like a separate piece, and then information for you when you get to a new area. So that is maybe one way to divide it.
Yeah, I'd be curious to do if you do a user test, like you just work in design, you don't implement anything, and if you do a user test with a highly guided experience, how just to see how different the response would be. That'd be interesting as a test. Anyway, sorry, we have a few minutes left. Did you cover all the flows that you wanted? Would you like any more
Um,
feedback? We can also go longer if some people want to stick around.
yes, I actually covered everything I wanted. The two areas that I wanted feedback, I've already gotten. There is a lot more to the application. The inheritance we haven't gone through, so that we didn't want to go over 1 hour, which is why we've left it for now. But I have gotten all the feedback that I wanted. But if there's any one that would like to comment on anything,
Uh, yeah. So hi, Yashraj here. I just had like a couple of questions, I think, but I just wanted to comment, I think, on the fact that like Daniel talked about it, and I think all of you talked about it a lot. That it's not obvious to me that the vault is also a wallet. Like I just thought it is like a space where I have all my keys and I do the key management. That's what I thought initially, but maybe I'm wrong. Uh, my I think question was regarding the BIP 85 things. So all of these linked wallets like share a master seed.
No,
Yeah, uh,
each wallet has its own settings and has its own seed, right?
yeah, and it is also because I think there is in the settings tab there is a recovery phrase, like that is the master BIP85 one, and the others are like derived from that.
so this is for each wallet individually.
Yeah,
It
but like in the settings tab, like in the home screen there is a settings
right,
button, and then
right.
over there is also a recovery phrase.
Correct. Yes.
Is
That
that the
is for
master?
that's the master seed basically.
Okay, yeah, yeah, yeah. So I just like maybe it might be a good idea to like help people understand it, because I think I read a lot about, like, I think during the onboarding and like various learn more tabs, like there is a lot about BIP 85, but then uh, I'm I'm not really able to like see it in action, even though I think it is being used. Did that make sense? I don't know.
No, no, I think that can be an area of confusion. So definitely, we understand that's one of the things we are trying to solve is how to, because BIP85 is not that that prevalent right now. So
Yeah.
if having multiple seeds in the same wallet is not necessarily something which is easily understood. So yeah, we're trying to get there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and just one other question regarding this master BIP 85 seed. Like, what uh, what happens after I have the vault, like a 3 or 5? So I have that. Do I still have that BIP 85 master seed? How does that work exactly?
Yeah, so that the wallets are a completely different space. So that's the so BIP85 wallet and their child seeds is completely different to the vault. So vault has a very it might have its own set of signing devices, while wallets are completely different. They are hot in nature and all the keys are on the wallet. So these are two completely different things.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense now. But I think, yeah, th- this seems like a great app, and hopefully I'm looking forward to using it, because I want to have this, want to use all of these signers and everything, but it's just a little bit intimidating. So like if there's an application that helps with that, I think that would be amazing to do.
Got it. Yep.
It's a really tough challenge. I mean, I work on with various people in the Bitcoin field who work on this stuff all day long, and they all have hard time. Most of them have a hard time setting up a multi-sig or understanding how it works. It is a really tough concept. So it's a very tough UX challenge here, and I still feel like as a Bitcoin as a design community, we have not quite figured out yet the right way to communicate this. I think you have lots of really, really awesome pieces here, like that big graphic about the vault and everything. And it's more of a matter, from my perspective, it's more of a matter of finessing the details, the explanations, exactly how those little pieces fit together. But
Yeah.
Yeah, what I have found is the puzzle we have to solve is this basically vault versus wallet. So if this was just having a single vault and no wallets, it would be probably much simpler, order of magnitude simpler. So that's an additional layer of user complexity that we have to message out and make it as simple as possible.
I guess
So
we're running out of time here somewhat, but I just wanted to share two things more. And one is that I will definitely send you more detailed feedback that I had written down already. But the last piece was like, I agree with Chris. I think you have a lot of the pieces here, and I was really happy to see, when before the call that like it was a product that was tackling the kind of multi-sig and a lot of the thorny issues around inheritance and stuff. So like really kudos for that. I think it's great to see. If I were to try two things here, I know you're deep into it, so I'm just saying, me approaching this now, there are two things I would like to try. One would be to look harder into the progressive idea. I think Christoph mentioned this as well earlier. Like, since there is, several steps here in terms of security, if you like. There's and we have thoughts about this in the Bitcoin Design Guide. I think, right, the kind of progressive security. So, when the user first launches the app, they actually have a hot wallet, right? You've created a hot wallet for them. That's the kind of the first state. And then a second state you could imagine is the one external signer, right? And then a third step is this kind of idea of a multi-sig. And I'm sure that a lot of users, probably most users, will never get there. But then, thinking about how your product can be useful in all of the steps, and then gradually, when people kind of become comfortable or kind of find the need to upgrade, that's when you're ready, right? Because if you have 0 Bitcoin in there, setting up a multi-sig doesn't really matter so much. Of course, it's very different if this is a product that's really aimed for people who want to do that, then maybe you should do a different thing. But like, I think this progressive security idea is really interesting, and you have all the pieces, so you could take it that way if you wanted to. And
yeah, actually, that is one.
with,
Sorry, just
with
to
inheritance, there's no point in showing the inheritance setup and confusing people on the main screen until there's anything to inherit, right? That's another kind of idea of this progressive thing.
Yeah, I think Daniel, you're spot on. One of the things that we started off this that we have like two wallets. One is Hexa, and one is Bitcoin Keeper. So the whole idea of focus, the audience that we are focusing on with Bitcoin Keeper, are people who are already Bitcoiners and who have some amount that they want to secure.
Yeah,
So
that makes
they
sense. And then maybe you shouldn't do it all what I suggested, but then I would maybe remove the hot wallet, right? Why do I want a hot wallet if what I'm setting up is actually a savings wallet? So just
correct.
the final point I wanted to make is, apart from this potentially progressive idea, the second thing I would want to kind of review if I was doing this is the language. So, for example, is the vault, could that be, for every phrase you use, is there a kind of more commonly used or kind of more kind of day-to-day language used? Like, so instead of hot wallet or this BIP85 that was completely new to me, right? I'd never heard of it. Could it just be called like a spending wallet, or like a word that people are aware of? And the vault, could that be like your savings or wallet, or like your kind of really secure wallet? I don't know, but just go over the whole app and like, this technical term, can we replace it with something that is more normal speak as opposed to Bitcoin? But I'll leave my comments on that, and I'll share some more written down ones later. Well done, guys, for putting all this together.
Fair enough. Yeah.
Awesome, cool. Should we wrap it up? Any more words? Would you like to have more in the future? Would you like to have more user testing? Would you like to get more feedback? Anything else that we can do, the design community can do for you?
Definitely. I have already, there's a few flows that I do want to walk through next time we do this, specifically inheritance that we're still working on. But I have enough to go on for now.
Okay, and as you know, with a designer, you always get a lot of different feedback, and you personally can choose to accept or ignore or dismiss whatever you want, because you're the
Definitely.
person who has to, in the end, create this thing that really goes well together. So
Definitely.
like whatever I said, just ignore it, or take it as you see fit as a curator of your product.
Definitely.
And thank you for sharing and being so open.
Thank you, guys. Thanks for.
Thanks a lot, guys.
Awesome. Thank you. I'm gonna stop the recording
Yeah.
then. Thanks all who joined.